Season's greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. It's your good pal, Tiki here. Coming to you on camera to just kind of introduce what we're about to do here tonight. So here's the situation. I basically need to save Christmas for the podcast. So we've been doing 6 seasonal shenanigans episodes throughout the month of December. Seasonal shenanigans, of course, being our catch-all term for our Christmas podcast that we do. And basically what happened is we did Klaus. We recorded Klaus last night. And then we have White Christmas, and that's pre-recorded, and that was set to be released tonight, and it was for a while, but then something happened. Essentially what happened was Klaus, which was chronologically the penultimate thing for seasonal shenanigans, got hit with copyright because your boy Tiki here gonna take all the blame. Your boy Tiki here was dumb enough to play a Beatles song at the very start and the very end of that Klaus video. Please, Mr. Postman, because I was like, get it? Because one of the main characters in Klaus is a postman. Yeah, that was a big mistake because, oh man, not only, because usually I figured it'd be a copyright block, or a copyright strike, basically what I figured is like, oh, we'll take away the AdSense that you're not making on this video anyways. That's what I thought would happen, and I was totally cool with that. That's usually what happens when I play song clips. What actually ended up happening is that our video got blocked in most regions, it looks like, including the United States. So what we're going to do here tonight, I still have the video up on my, on my profile, on my YouTube studio. I can still have access to what we recorded last night. I want to do that because it has some really good comments from Pink Pearl Apple on there. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and screen share this for you guys. And we are just going to kind of take a Ghost of Christmas Past style journey to last night. And we're going to just kind of relive this Klaus podcast as if it's happening for the first time. And so, yeah, time travel and whatnot. Spooky. All right, so just a warning here, folks. I think the audio on this is going to be fine, but keep in mind I'm basically recording my computer speakers into my mic, so it's not me talking into the mic. It's going to be, a recording of me being recorded into the mic. It's a stream of a stream, if you will, but I really want to get this out here, and I just really want to make sure that we don't get hit by the copyright fairies again. So with that in mind, let's see, I have the timestamp, so I want to stop this at 122, or muted at least, and then we will skip ahead to 158. All right, so let's give it a go, shall we?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over.
Oops. Sorry, folks. Don't know what happened there. Oh, boy. Oh, God.
Well, let's begin.
Bum. That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
6 to be exact. Selected and arranged for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman to join us as we engage in some seasonal shenanigans. And tonight, we are talking about the Netflix animated film that is sweeping the nation, or at least fans of traditional good hand-drawn family affair around Christmas time with an origin story twist to it. We're talking Klaus, man! We're talking Klaus! And this is where I proceed to play said Beatles song, which got us that glorious copyright strike. Maybe it was George Martin from Beyond the Grave. George Martin is playing Marley in this situation, in this hypothetical event that I've created in my head. Anyways, folks, so Klaus is a great movie, and like I said, we have some great feedback from Pink Pearl throughout the comments, at least in the first half of this video. So what I'm going to do is, after we get to the second timestamp here, I'm going to just kind of keep it running. All right, enjoy.
What you doing?
It's
feeling Christmas Eve.
I'm feeling awfully jolly, especially after watching this again.
Oh yeah. So we have Pink Pearl in the comments here.
Season's greetings, Pink Pearl.
Yeah. Ooh, a fast new classic, huh? Okay, so she says, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to that comment, that second comment, Pink Pearl, when we get to the character. So yeah, nice to have you. She says she's sitting down with some Brazilian sweets that I am not going to attempt to pronounce. All right. Okay, so Dragon, I'm going to throw it over to you, my friend. Why don't you take the first lead on Klaus? Tell us how you feel about this one.
Klaus is interesting. I remember there was a lot of hype around Klaus. I believe it dropped a little middle to late November. So of course, kind of a Netflix production. There was a lot of hype around it. I remember I was holding off to watch Klaus because my friends, we have our little holiday get together every year, and we watch stuff. Nice classy affair, I like to think. And I'm not much for
That's awesome.
See, I'm not much for me. I think the max occupancy of any Christmas party should be under 10. Personally, that's me. But
I'm totally right there with you, buddy.
To me, that's
appearance that way.
I'm saying I had a gift exchange that went off like gangbusters. The whole affair was wonderful. Regardless,
nice.
My point is that we selected things.
There wasn't any brother-in-law that was having a crisis of faith in the car or anything like that.
Thankfully, no. So my point is, we select things, and sometimes we watch the old favorites. Sometimes we watch what's new. Like last year, there was Christmas Chronicles, as you can probably imagine. This year, it went for stuff that collectively not everybody had seen. And of course, I saw everything but one thing. We all went completely blind on one thing, and that one thing was Klaus, because all my friends, as well as myself, are big animation nerds. We really are. We love it, and just the fact, of course, the big hype being, this 2D Christmas thing's going to be on Netflix. We all haven't seen it. It looks really great from the trailers. Let's watch this. Okay, so we all went. Yeah, of course. Yeah, also huge Spider-Man fans amongst the bunch as well, and just J.K. Simmons. Honestly, I actually gave my buddy a themed gift to J.K. Simmons this year. His character on Legend of Korra, huge Legend of Korra fan. He loves Tens and the character that is so J.K. Simmons is ridiculous. Regardless, point being, this movie was tailor made for our little shindig, and we all went into it completely blind. We watched it, and it was great experience. So for me, I was getting my thoughts on. So this is Netflix giving the right people, the okay to do a passion project, in this case, a holiday movie. And it's kind of been Netflix's bag lately, especially with kind of the original productions, as well as the animated stuff. And
Green Eggs and Ham, man, I'm telling you, this and Green Eggs and Ham was Netflix's 1-2 punch to Disney Plus in November.
Precisely. And, this is so remarkably clever and overflowing with holiday spirit. This is like.
Dare I say, I don't think this is like the best. I'm sorry. Go. I will say my piece. I'm sorry, Dragon. I'm excited to talk about it.
I know. It's got one last thing.
Okay.
So, to me, my thesis really is that I think this is kind of like the new Arthur Christmas, and that it's like the next holiday classic that we've had in a while. I think Arthur Christmas was like the last, especially in terms of animation. Arthur Christmas was the last one that really lit the world on fire, especially being a movie about Santa Claus as well, in terms of kind of like an animated Santa Claus movie for everyone to enjoy. It's kind of like
controversial hot take, but I think that The Grinch 2018 is aging well. I think more and more people are catching on to. I mean, it's not necessarily a brilliant movie or anything, but I feel like that's going to be a classic.
Well, sure. I mean, it's great, but again, I put it this way: The Grinch is enjoyable. I don't know if I'd say classic yet. Maybe, but not yet.
Okay. Anyways, so Pink Pearl tweeted me a picture of the sweet she's eating. Yeah, man, I would definitely try those in a heartbeat, Pink Pearl, if they were at Epcot or something. Yeah, it looks delicious. All right. So yes, I pretty much love this movie. I, I have a couple issues with it in terms of the plot, which we'll get to. I think there's there's some wire revealed stuff going on. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the villains and their motivations. Other than that, other than just kind of like the dumb plot stuff that's in pretty much every animated movie, I love this movie. I mean, I just think the characterization of all the main heroes is absolutely spot on. I mean, J.K. Simmons, like, this might be my new favorite Santa Claus in the film, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, god damn, you feel for this man on such a deep level. And just, Dragon, I think you and I can agree, this is like one of the big foundations of our relationship in some ways, is you and I, we love a good origin story, my friend. Of course, we have the controversial opinion that Better Call Saul is even better than Breaking Bad. And yeah, Dragon, I mean, goddamn, like, the Santa origin has been done before. I mean, just for my money, man. I don't know. I'm kind of blushing here. I'm kind of like glowing about this movie. There's nothing even really that supernatural about it, really, outside of some vaguely ambiguous stuff at the end. I mean, just yeah. Let's just get into this, man. As you can tell, outside of some plot stuff that really doesn't weigh this movie down too much, I'm totally glowing about this one.
All right, so now we haven't really been doing background this year on seasonal shenanigans, but this one does warrant it because it's kind of like you're watching this, you kind of wonder where the heck did this great movie come from? I think we should talk about it. Just a smidge. This found some cursory stuff. It's really interesting. I think you're really going to want to hear this.
Go ahead. All
right, so this was the brainchild of Sergio Pablos. Now, Sergio Pablos, he was an animator from Madrid, and he is. It's kind of funny. We just have. I'm taken back to I Am Your Father. Remember the documentary we did that commentary on way back when?
Yes.
Everything, of course. Actually we got a comment from that like Marcos Cabota, I believe his name. His point is like the director of that piece says another great. Brad Bird always had this great saying on The Incredibles comment, which is you need the animators go to the Spaniards for great animation. Go to the Spaniards. And I think against what Sergio's done here is quite fantastic. So the idea of Sergio's origin story is that he became a Disney animator, and we've seen his work. He was mainly of course, the Disney style. Very much, he was assigned an animator to a specific character. Now he had done work on the Goofy movie, a lot of character designs, I believe, on that one. He had done other work like on Hunchback Notre Dame. Frollo was his character.
Oh, there we go.
Not only that, on Hercules, he did Hades.
Okay, I mean, I would wager to say, as much as people love Gaston and Scar and Jafar and those villains, I would say Frollo and Hades was like the big 1-2 punch at the end of the Renaissance.
That's what I'm saying. Basically, it seems like Sergio really got in there towards the latter half of the Renaissance. And again,
I'm already babbling about this guy, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying. The unsung heroes of the Renaissance. I mean, again, Goofy movies like it's kind of the first one he's brought onto. He did Tarzan, he did Tantor's animation on Tarzan. He did Treasure Planet with David Hyde Pierce's character in that, which, as you can tell, definitely translates to the Jesper animation in this. And a big thing, the big one I should have led with, but I figured we want to start off with the Disney stuff here. He created the original concept for Despicable Me. Now that's really important because, again, he created Despicable Me, and not the Minions, mind you. It was. I was
going to say, don't shit talk the Minions, Tiki. Don't shit talk the Minions.
But don't worry, he's even kind of said in a joking way, said that you can't blame me for the Minions. That was
okay, fair enough. Good.
Like, he said that. So he came up with the idea for Gru and the whole girls premise. Like what if he took in 3 Girl Scouts? That whole thing. Anyway. Point being, of course, as you can imagine, being the creator of kind of the core basis of Despicable Me, he has actually raked in kind of the royalties, given how successful Despicable Me has gotten. With that,
oh yeah, wow!
And with that money, with that money, he started his own animation studio.
Okay.
Or at the very least, he funded a number of I forget if he. I forget if it was.
So he's taking something that is inherently kind of evil and using it for good.
Essentially, now I can't say. I forget if he after working for Disney, he quit Disney 6 years later. He had been working on concepts. I forget if that was under his studio or if he purely used the money for Despicable Me to fund his own studio. The point being, now he's only doing his own studio instead of doing other things. So the point being, it all went towards the new studio. Sergio Pablo's animation, so SPA. Anyway, so essentially, he didn't directly say this or anything, but essentially he's kind of taken I would imagine, the Paperman technique of animation. So what he did is he wanted to give the animation a handcrafted woodwork style to go with the toys and the toy making of the movie. So that's where he had, essentially, it's all 2D animation, but it has a CG lighting effect applied to it to add kind of that way it makes it really pop, But he wanted to take it back to the old 2D style in the best of ways.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting style. It's very unique. It's very unto itself.
Again, I can always cite Paperman as like the best comparison because it is kind of the medium of two styles.
I honestly feel like it's more Little Match Girl than Paperman.
I think that's a better. I didn't think of that. I think you're right. It is very much Little Match Girl. It's kind of like imagine if you took Little Match Girl mixed with Anastasia, kind of mix the two, and kind of what you go with this style almost. It's a little maybe it feels like there's a dash of Anastasia in there. I don't know. Point being, but it's interesting because the Anastasia, they kind of tried to blend some CG in there. I feel this does a far better job of that. Regardless, point being, that's all the background we have on kind of what gets us this movie. Basically, want to kind of really test the style there and do a holiday movie. And Netflix came like with their doors wide open. Come on, make some good stuff for us, man. All right, and let's get to the plot.
Netflix, you're picked up.
Just Netflix being like the happy, hey, come, make some good stuff with us. Go.
We don't care about the financial side of things. We're Netflix.
Yeah, we did El Camino, man. It was awesome.
Anyway, I had El Camino Christmas back in the day.
Double dose of El Camino. We're Netflix.
Oh man, that's a deep pull. El Camino Christmas.
Still, I love the ending of that movie. Anyway,
I like it. Check it out. Check out El Camino Christmas if you missed Tim Allen. Of course, not getting political or anything.
Yes, I know.
I'm not really following his politics either way, folks, but I'm just saying, if you missed Tim Allen on the big screen in a comedic role, watch El Camino Christmas.
Also, watch the Galaxy Quest documentary.
I need to see that. That's the one that Screen Junkies did.
Yes,
right?
It's on Amazon now, Tiki. You have to rent it.
Okay,
It's the only place you can find it right now. All right.
Got it.
Anyway, okay, sorry. Let's get to the plot here.
Yeah, plot.
So, okay, here's the plot. So, in a nutshell, the slacker son of a postmaster general by the name of Jesper is sent to Smearensburg, tasked to mail 6,000 letters by the end of the year, or he gets cut off from the family's money. From the family nest egg, if you will. So the problem is, Smearensburg is infamous for its long-running feud of two families. The Crumbs and God, I'm trying to remember the
Ellenbows.
Ellenbows. Thank you. I know why I was going to say Edinburgh, which is obviously wrong. The Ellenbows. Thank you. The Ellenbows and the Crumbs. So they all seem. Everything seems hopeless till Jesper meets a lonely yet imposing woodsman named Klaus. And the two end up delivering toys to children, which leads to letters pouring in and the town changing for the better. In effect, creating Christmas as we know it today. And that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell.
All right, let's break down the characters, starting, of course, with Jesper Johansson. Okay, so Dragon, this is like the one time I'm going to mention this name, but can I just mention that this feels like it feels like a Wes Anderson character. Not just the fact that it's Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, you're always in this.
But I'm just saying, it's Jason Schwartzman as like a spoiled kid who's kind of sent on sort of like a redemption journey where he gets to learn a little bit about himself along the way. It's like, are we watching a Wes Anderson movie here, Dragon? An early late 90s, early 2000s era Wes Anderson movie?
The opening of this movie is very Wes Anderson-esque with the whole, with the postmaster thing.
That's what I'm saying, Dragon. That's what I mean. There is some Wes Anderson. I'm not crazy here, am I? I mean, like I said, of course, Jason Schwartzman is very obviously a Wes Anderson pool. He was the star of Wes Anderson's, like, not first movie, but first breakout movie. But, I digress. Enough with the Wes Anderson stuff. This is a fantastic character. This is a liar reveal done right. I do have to put the liar revealed on the con side of things. We'll get to that when we get to that. But in terms of just like this guy has, what I love about this guy is that, he does have motivation. He does have like his own motivation at hand, that kind of, but not for a second did I question if he was like learning stuff and becoming a better person along the way, Dragon. Like, this guy has so much empathy.
Yeah, because, you see he's kind of ill-equipped in kind of where he's being thrown into here. He's kind of thrown to this cold and crazy town with an impossible assignment. And basically, he starts off, he's initially very Cusco-esque. It's kind of the best comparison I could give. It's kind of Jason Schwartzman meets Cusco.
It is pretty Cusco. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but you're right.
He's kind of the Cusco of the mail world, the postman world. That's the thing. So he has this arc of wanting to return to his cushy status quo, and kind of out of this unfriendly town. It's going to be kind of an important connecting point for him and some other characters, kind of wanting to get out of the town. And he initially has a selfish motivation, but over time, as you said, he does kind of fall for the town in a really, really interesting way. And the fact that he kind of transforms the town unknowingly over time. And I love basically the credo of the movie. My favorite running theme of the whole movie is this one line: a true act of goodwill sparks another. I just love that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's the credo of the movie, and it's beautiful. It's going to go so on and so on and so on, and basically, it's kind of this again. It's one spark to another. It just kind of improves everything around him, and basically, he kind of, as we see him literally do later on, he grows up considerably in this movie. He grows up. He kind of learned. He makes the choice to leave the lavish lifestyle behind for something more humble in many senses of the word noble. And again, it's kind of the postal service at its best, this guy, through the course of the movie. Because you got to remember, Klaus, Santa Claus in this movie he's not just Klaus, he's Klaus and Jesper. It's a two-part Santa. It's a combination Santa. It's very interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic like that. It's like, yeah, we'll get into that more when we get to the Klaus, but for sure, I agree.
Absolutely. But yeah, seriously, Schwartzman was really good in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, this guy is the headliner here, man. It's like, come on, J.K. Simmons is like a badass origin story version of Santa. Who didn't want to see that? And my God, he delivers more than I ever thought he could, Dragon. I mean, I haven't seen Legend of Korra, I will admit that, but for my money, this is my personal favorite J.K. Simmons voice acting performance. I mean, what I love about this guy is just how he's a man of few words, Dragon, but everything he says is so impactful.
Absolutely.
I love the way this guy's written. I love his presence. I love the entire vibe that he gets off in the film. One is just so cool. Just to kind of keep it so he's so cool. In layman's terms, yes.
No, but seriously, it is a beautiful evolution of a performance here, because you're absolutely right. It kind of goes from the silent character to the more vocal and kind of jolly as he warms up the Jester through the course of the movie. It really does hinge on the friendship between these two characters, and the budding friendship between the two of them. Also, he has a great design. I love the scale opposition between him and Jesper, where he's like just this huge Santa of a man. We have just kind of our thin mailman, and we're really great about this. My favorite thing in the characterization of Klaus, I love, and J.K. Simmons also brings us to the fold. And again, it's kind of a meeting of voice of acting and animation, kind of beautifully melded together here, where it's these little subtle moments where, again, as Klaus is starting to become a little bit more vocal, he has these moments where he basically starts to talk about his wife, but then he stops himself. And it's like these moments, like just a little, he gives him a little nugget, or like a little, he can't stop the ho 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 from coming out, and it's just like he's like those little subtle quiet moments in the sleigh, and that really, it's the wagon initially. That's what I'm talking about. That's the magic of this thing. Honestly, at the end, the Klaus. What we do with Klaus and what we do with kind of the origin story for our Santa Claus here is kind of like the tragic character who's kind of like the lonely woodsman. Mm-hmm. It's very much like it's like the better reboot of Santa Claus is coming to town from Rankin Bass. If you really think it's like we're going to give Santa Claus an origin, it's a far more compelling origin.
It's like the Nolan version of a Santa origin story, Dragon.
Sure. But I love that Jesper kind of gave him the thing that he didn't have in life. He lost the love, the hope for family, and Jesper from a very unconventional sense, he brought that to him. And again, together they're absolutely Santa. You have the builder with the intent of he wanted to give out gifts, but again, now he's kind of stopped from that in life.
Santa and your head elf, man.
Yep, it's the builder and the delivery man. Together they are Santa.
Ooh, all right. And of course, I not to give anything away, I know it's one of your favorite moments, but let me just say this with Klaus, I fucking love the ambiguity with the ending, Dragon.
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay, you don't have to tell me twice.
It's like the freaking, the stupid, French chef kissing his fingers, like the mwah. It's just the cherry on top, anyways. Okay, who's next, Dragon?
Alva. So it's so funny you mentioned the Grinch earlier in this, because Sheena Jones is on fire with her animated roles these days, and Sheena Jones plays Alva, kind of our love interest, the school teacher of the piece.
I got really into this character from the first time she was introduced, man. I was just like, oh, this is the love interest, and that's great because I am already totally compelled by her, as a person, regardless of any sort of oh, will they, won't they hook up sort of thing. Yeah. It's like she's just a really interesting character in her own right, and that's the way they should always do these types of characters.
And so, again, I love the animation on her introduction too. It's just sublime. The whole fish lady. She looks like just a giant fish lady at first, and we reveal she's holding the giant fish, and she's such a all those things with the knife, how she's making the fish's mouth open, and it's great. Anyway,
first with that fish lady thing, I was I kind of had this one moment where I was like, oh my god, are we in a Miyazaki type world?
Well, it is a really trippy introduction.
It is.
Yeah, too. So it's almost it's like creepy Western. Kind of
right,
children of
right,
the, like children of the corn.
It kind of has a Rango quality to it, actually.
Rango's the perfect. It is very Rango-esque. Yes. Anyway, so basically instead of sheriff, it's postman. Anyway, so she's a school. I love that she's kind of the school teacher without a purpose, and I love that I love the simple gag, but I love it. It's a school of fish now instead of an actual school. so on the nose, but so lovely. I don't know.
Right.
It's just how can you make the town more unpleasant? Just a giant room full of smelly fish, just smelly dead fish. Anyway, so she shares a self-motivated goal, like Jesper does, in basically, saving up and leaving the town. They both want out of the town. It's kind of the initial thing.
You know what's really funny about this, Dragon? Oh man, I don't want to give any Star Wars spoilers. It's not really a spoiler. It very much reminds me of a certain side character in The Rise of Skywalker, with the whole motivation of saving up money to leave the planet.
Right. I know what you're getting at.
Except this is done a million times better.
Against Kerry Russell kids. Anyway. But honestly, I feel Alva, initially, she is basically kind of being the miserable person. He's kind of deadlocked in there. An interesting miserable person, mind you. It's just the fact that, it's Jesper could become her if things don't pick it. If he doesn't meet Klaus, he's going to end up exactly like Alva, just basically counting the minutes until he can get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And the two are very much linked by necessity, which I thought was a really great move story-wise. And that, she teaches the kids to write. Of course, I love the name scene, man. The name scene melted my heart. I like when we have good school teacher characters. I'll point you Miss Keene from Powerpuff Girls.
Original Miss Keene.
Right. Sorry, the original. This kid. Yes. You know, I don't. No one. No. Who the heck?
Completely different characters, Dragon.
You know what I'm talking about. No one.
I know.
Point being, the original point is like the great school teacher characters. Anyway. So, but seriously, that name scene melted my heart. Where it's like, oh, you see this kid so eager, like you just learn how to write her name. And it's like it's something so simple, but like, oh god, this kid is like they have like earned their birthright essentially. And I can write my own name. It's so simple, and you see like the educator, like, oh my god, my life has meaning again. It's beautiful. And then, of course, the point being, she teaches the kids to write, which, of course, leads to the letters that Jesper needs. So, again, they're very much feeding each other's purpose. They're very much they are bound together by necessity, and one of your favorite scenes later on, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then one of my runner-up for favorite scenes is when she's taking Jesper on a walk through the town, and she's showing him, like, essentially like the first Christmas village, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just how he influenced that, how he kind of brought it together. That very much had a Cars vibe to it for me, Dragon. Original Cars 1 vibe.
Sure. So, I love also by the end of things, the two of them have a family together. Yet again, they are linked by children because they have 2 kids, and it's nice. And basically, we have a version where I love that both of our Santa Clauses have a Mrs. Claus. We have like kind of the tragic version of the Mrs. Claus, and we have like kind of like she's wearing the red and the white. It's like, oh god, he has a Mrs. Claus. It's adorable.
Right.
It's a very nice and developed relationship without being in your face about, oh boy, this is like a huge plot point. It's very naturally worked into things. Right.
Alrighty, let's see. I believe we have Mogans. I was going to say Margu, but Mogans.
Yeah.
Oh god, Dragon, I know it's more McDonald, but I am just in such a Mr. Robot mode that every time I see this character, I think of Christian Bale. Or not Christian Bale, I'm sorry. Not Christian Bale. I'm dumb. Christian Slater. This character has a very Christian Slater vibe to me, Dragon. Am I crazy?
I knew you were gonna make that reference. I knew you were gonna throw a Slater parallel in there.
Am I crazy though?
I mean, again, Norm Macdonald and Christian Slater have kind of a similar voice, not the same voice.
They have a very similar cadence and delivery to them.
Yes, and obviously the whole with the Mr. Robot of it all just kind of popping up, which is kind of like more of a sardonic like kind of answer to
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, they remind you of Mr. Robot on the Brain, but yeah, I see your point.
Oh, God, you're goddamn right. I have Mr. Robot on the Brain, but that's another conversation.
Okay, the point being, Norm Macdonald playing this really funny, sarcastic ferryman. It's really funny.
I don't necessarily think he has that much of a point in the movie beyond just kind of being a comic relief character, but he's entertaining for who he is.
He has a point that confuses me. We'll get to that with Cons, but the point being, he has this. He's kind of a funny vocalization of Jesper having no hope in the situation. Ultimately, he's proven wrong. So just basically, he leads him to all the major story points when you think about it. Though it's like, hey, ring the bell, which introduces the families, and hey, go in the wood. I'm sure that sounds like a good idea, which of course leads to Klaus. So again, he is very pivotal when you think of that. Though he's quite.
He's a weird character though, because I feel like he's. He doesn't really have any sort of like big relationship or arc with any of the other people.
Yeah, just.
He's odd. I can't really put my finger on him.
Well, technically, in theory, any newcomer like Alva would also have to run into this guy because this guy takes you into the town. So he does have kind of that link with characters. Not a major point, obviously.
No, I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, he is kind of like the... I guess for the purposes of the story, he's basically like our... kind of like it makes sense that the ferryman would be kind of like introducing this guy to like the lay of the land in the town.
Yeah.
And like I said, he is an entertaining enough character. He gets some laughs. I just think with everyone else just having such 3-dimensional personalities, I think he kind of fades compared to a lot of the other characters here. But
sure. All right, so that brings us to Margu.
All right. Oh, God, this girl, Jesus, this melted my heart, Dragon.
My friends were melting in their seats at this kid, man. They were just like, oh God, she's so sickeningly cute in the best of ways.
It's like if the little match girl had a happy ending.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah. So she's basically, we have this little girl who speaks Sammy. Now Sammy, I hope I'm not mispronouncing it. It's Sammy or Samai. Let's just go with Sammy for simplicity's sake. The point being, this is it's Norway. This is one of the languages that's spoken in Norway, I believe. I think Pearl made a point earlier about this.
It's literally up on the screen, Dragon.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm watching the other thing too late.
Okay,
Anyway,
sorry.
Fun fact: Sammy, the language of the small blonde girl, is that she's speaking is an actual language. Yes, spoken in some places in the Scandinavian areas. I guess the Scandinavian areas of Norway. So that's a little fun fact for the kids out there. It is a real place. It is a real language. Basically, we turn this into kind of our elves essentially. It's kind of our version of Elvish.
Super duper clever.
It was
super duper clever. I was so curious how they were going to do the elves, and yeah, they really nailed it with that.
And again, it just fits so well. I mean, again, like kind of Elvish. I know not actually, but the fact is, like, again, there's
but they have a workforce that makes sense. It makes sense why they would want to help him.
And we're kind of snow covered.
It makes sense why there's a lot of them.
It does, kind of snow covered, kind of in the north. You know, it all jives. And again, they're very good craftsmen apparently. And we know we've seen that. Yeah, it works tremendously well. I love, we'll get to more of that later on. Point being, Mark does also have a big role within the friendship of Klaus and Jesper in a very interesting way, too. But yeah, she's kind of also the confidant, kind of the one-sided confidant, kind of mini therapist for Jesper. So when he's kind of feeling out things, kind of talking about his own father and everything to just this girl who he doesn't know if she even understands what he's going for there. And it's so hard. He's just like, Jesper!
Oh, God.
Oh God, it's beautiful.
Okay, I want to highlight a couple of comments from people here. Going back to Alva, she said, Alva was a funny character from chopping a fish head to warming up to kids. Yeah, I love the arc there. She's saying of the Klaus and Jesper dynamic, she says, I like the idea of Santa being passed down by an apprenticeship to show them the spirit of giving. I will say, it handles that idea in a lot more classy way than Noel did.
Yeah,
the whole descendant to Santa thing.
To be fair, again, that's more like that's within the family. This is like the creation of this is the Book of Genesis thing on that. So
sure, but all right, and then she says, let's see, she said, get dramatic people used to control the climate of the tundra who like to help out. Good call.
It is a good
call.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right, okay. So speaking of kind of natives of the land, let's talk about as Pink earlier put it, kind of the Hatfields and McCoys of Klaus here.
It's Christmas flavored Hatfields and McCoys.
Yes.
Dragon. This is I wasn't a fan of the bad guys here.
Well, here's the thing, though. They're not necessarily bad guys, but I mean, I love it this way. They serve the role of bad guys. So they try to ruin Christmas. But are they really that bad? There's more like kind of
I feel like they kind of just like. I feel like the movie. How do I put this? I feel like the movie didn't need a whole like band of an angry mob out to ruin Christmas. I get the whole idea of the town feuding, and I get that we need to have conflict in the story and there needs to be like a third act climax and everything, but I don't know, man. I really just the whole thing with it was kind of the weak link of the movie for me. It wasn't bad. It was just conceptually speaking, I felt like it was the most forced thing about the movie. It was like, okay, we need to have a villain. We need to have a third act climax,
Well, the only thing that kind of sticks out to me with them is that, again, they do lead to, like, one of the things I'm not crazy about the movie. But, again, we'll get to that when we get to the naughty stuff. My point is, I I like the whole. I love the irony of these characters, where you have these two feuding sides. Of course, you have Joan Cusack playing Mrs. Crumb, and you have Will Sasso playing Mr. Ellingbo. And we have I love the whole gag with the Crumbs are smarter than the Ellingbos, because the Ellingbos are just kind of the dumb side of the road here. But it's the fact of like, how will you keep defeating us? Just Joan Cusack cracks me up in this movie. That's the thing I said. But here's what I really like about these characters. I do like that they are looking out for the best interests of the kids. They get misguided interests. That's the whole gag, where these people, like, they're forming a truce to put an end to this peace. Like, we're gonna get back to the peace of feuding. Like, the whole irony of, like, it's just people who it's like around you go to a Christmas thing where you have like these. You have like the relatives just sort of set in their ways that they don't get, or it's like people set in the old ways.
Perhaps brother-in-law that might have a meltdown in a car, or a crisis of faith in a car of some kind. Perhaps.
Sure. Let's go with that. My point is, it's like the people that are set in their ways, especially in regards to like a family feud. Let's say like more like a Sherman Brothers family situation. These people just don't see the eye. Like, you're so close, you're so well known for being together. Why can't you just kiss and make up? Darn it. That whole thing at all here, whereas the fact that, again, it's like they're forming a truce, which again I love the old Christmas truce idea. I think it's great. I always love that in history. The whole going back to World War I on that one. But point being, sorry. But yeah, basically this whole thing's kind of looking at the futility of family feuds. It's kind of the point of all this here. And I love that they aren't like when the kids are playing with each other initially, and they're saying like, oh, what? Oh, you can't play with the enemy, man. That's wrong. Look at the spanning rivalry.
Three horns never play with long necks.
Exactly. I mean, we see literally in a really well cultivated museum. By the way, I gotta give them craftsmanship on the feud of it all here, because it's like we have this really well put together exhibit of how long the feud's been going on. We see it goes back to the beginning of time with the cave painting, so it's a long running feud. It really is. So honestly, I think they mined a lot of comedy out of it. And I love that like they weren't mad at the kids; they were trying to guide the kids. Like I love Joan Cusack. Like, so dear, who gave you this little toy here? Who gave you a little wind up frog? Like that whole thing. They are being really nice to the kids. I don't know, something. That's what I'm saying. Like and of course, by the end of the day, the kids end up different kids, mind you, like the bigger, kind of more comedically oversized kids. They kind of broke.
I mean, that made sense in terms of like a way to wrap up the feud thing, but I wasn't crazy about the comedy involved in that whole ordeal.
Well, yeah, I do the whole had to break in the cycle at the end with the marriage, where now you're stuck with each other. So, yeah.
Like I said, it makes sense from a plot point of view. There was like, I don't know. I guess at this point, maybe I'm just sick of fat humor. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's just more like they're giant and imposed. I think it's just more like a cartoony design. I don't think it was really like.
Fair enough.
Point being, yeah. All right. One thing, so moving on from kind of our feuding sides here, so Pink Pearl makes a point. There are other ways the feud wasn't bad, just maybe a little off at their point.
And she points out, like, they could have had an angry mayor that wanted to modernize, could have had land issues and fighting over land lines, and yeah, I agree. My whole thing is, like I said, I don't necessarily think they needed a full-on antagonist. I think they could have gone the Frozen route and just made the themes the conflict of the movie.
Sure, regardless, they would have had the voice like the opposition to the thing in some sense of the word. So I don't know. It's kind of a necessity, but it's also you kind of have to roll with it, I guess, to a certain extent. Regardless. So let's get to the So folks, let's check this list, man. We're making a list.
Our list, check it twice, find out what about this movie is naughty and nice.
We're not just going to go by like that, because there's really not much wrong with this movie.
I'm curious what you have for naughty, Dragon. Take the reins.
Okay, so the one legit naughty point is we have a liar reveal, and you kind of see it coming. However, and again, this is how bad my naughty stuff is, in the sense that it's not bad at all. It's that, okay, there's a liar reveal, but it's very brief. I mean,
it's very brief, and it leads to one of the most heartwarming moments in the movie. That you kind of need the lie reveal to get to that moment. So
that's my worst thing, and of course, worse in the worst sense. Like, oh, this movie gets it so wrong, and they kept it so brief and so minimal. So, okay, as outside of that, I mean,
think the Rango lie revealed was handled a lot worse than this one was.
Yeah, at least I had Clint Eastwood in it. Timothy Olyphant, Clint Eastwood, though. Anyway, anyway, no. Okay. Other than that, but why is it I have head scratching things and naughty? It's two head scratching things that really don't matter at all. Like basically, if you think about it too hard, it doesn't matter at all. It's a we don't care thing, absolutely. Where if you're really questioning, there's kind of a flaw in the mailing system. Period in this movie, at least in my estimation. Okay, so the mail. So remember, our ferryman, he has to send the mail, I presume, back to the school, presumably back to the postal academy. Yeah, basically gets stamped. I imagine essentially, so Jesper has to stamp it by hand according to his father. So I assume, okay, Jesper gets the letters, stamps it, sends it to the ferryman, it's sent over there. We saw a little opening montage, like how the whole mail thing works. They stamp it there, and then they send it back to the town. It just sounds like, why can't Jesper just stamp the mail and then deliver it in the town? That's where all the letters are going.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because the only reason he does that is so his father knows that the letters were sent. So it just sounds again, it doesn't matter at all. It's just when you think about it, it's like, so basically it's how it's kind of a commentary on the postal system. Maybe like, yeah, it is. Maybe it was an extra step we don't need. I don't know.
I guess we already addressed that the feud stuff is not bad, just maybe a little off.
There's one familial thing I don't get with the feud thing. Again, if you think about it too hard, it's gonna it's kind of a head scratcher. Where if it's two families specifically, you have the Ellingbows, you have the Crumbs. You have two families, and the book delineate this is real. They're kind of split down the middle of the road. We have the one set of houses, the other set of houses, and they throw things at each other. You get it. And yeah, they have the red-haired ones. Those the red-haired Ellingbows. You have like the dark-haired Crumbs. Pretty simple, right? But I gotta be honest. How do you, if it's one family name, how do you get all these different people on both sides? That's what I'm saying. Like, how many?
A lot of crossbreeding, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying. If you think about it,
I'm going to be the one to go out and say it.
Yeah, so you see what I'm getting at. If you think about it, you get into that territory. It's like, oh man.
Hey man, Game of Thrones is really, that brought incest back.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all the naughty stuff I have in that regard. Like those 3 points, they're very minimal. So not really naughty at all. Only it's a lateral that we need for the plot, and it's minimal. So who am I to complain? So do you have anything actually?
Anything actually naughty?
Do you have anything of actual substance outside of the feud point that we've already made?
Outside of the feud point and outside of the very brief lie revealed, honestly, no. Dragon, I'm going to throw it over to you for the nice stuff. I need to grab a beverage really quick. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm sure you and I agree on every point you're about to make, so go ahead.
All right, folks. So here's some really nice stuff the movie does. Right, of course, as we've illustrated, great cast, easily great cast. We have J.K. Simmons and Jason Schwartzman alone. They have great chemistry, a great kind of building friendship as throughout the course of the movie. Again, Sheena Jones as well. Again, just another great in that regard. No one's dropping the ball. The voice department. Again, Jim Cusack's like it's a barrel of laughs. Like just like how do we keep losing to you? Anyway, so then we have, of course, the animation style. The animation style is truly it's something to behold. Again, where we have that homemade, handcrafted, as Pink Pearl said earlier. It's kind of like kind of a clockwork sort of style mixed in with we kind of mixed in clockwork and wood into kind of the 2D animation, which again is kind of a little gimmick of the animation style with the lighting effects, kind of the background, kind of like melded into basically you can tell a guy who worked in character animation and character design did this movie, and the way these characters move, and it feels very much like basically it's a testament to this is the kind of animation you want in more original animation today. You want the pros from back then, but you want the pros who they weren't like the big, maybe not the Eric Goldbergs. Nothing against Eric Goldberg. I love Eric Goldberg. What I'm saying is like an example of everybody. Most people know Eric Goldberg. I'm talking about like the guys who did not get the limelight. And that's kind of what we get in this movie in terms of animation, which I think brings out the best in animation, especially in like again you see how these characters move like in very realistic and like not the glamorous way you see all the time. Just you can tell like a guy who did Hunchback of Notre Dame did this movie. I'll put it to you that way. Anyway. Also, there's a bit of cartoony exaggeration designs as well, as we mentioned with kind of the the Ellingbows and the Crumbs and so on and so forth. There's also kind of a little bit of a morbidity in like the gags and the humor and the design. Like we have like children. There's some really wonderful dark humor in this movie.
There is, and I feel like that is going to kind of give this movie a lot of resonance, especially because, man, it's like, as much as I do like the Grinch, the 2018 Grinch, and, bear in mind, folks, I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie just because I saw it right before I went on a Disney World trip, so, that's not really fair, but, man, this movie is like, it's one of the few animated movies from this decade that's specifically aimed at kids and really takes itself very, very seriously from top to bottom. I mean, even some of the better animated movies of this decade, like the Wreck-It Ralphs of the world and stuff like that, I mean, they still kind of treat themselves mostly as comedies. And this is I would wager to say this is not a comedy. This is definitely like a character study, an origin story, but it is not. I would not classify this as a comedy. It's a Christmas movie, sure, but it is not just a wacky Christmas comedy where hijinks ensue.
Mind you, it is, again, there's humor there, but as you said, not full-on comedy, which is some of the best things have comedy. Again, well, speaking of other origin movies, Better Call Saul has really great funny bits in it, not a comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, my started watching Better Call Saul. He's on season 2, and I'm really proud of him. I'm excited for him to get to season 4.
Since you are proud of your boy.
I'm proud of my coworker.
Okay. Anyway, so
finally getting good tastes. Good.
Okay, so also I mean some gags like the children stabbing the snowman. Again, it's very much kind of like a Children of the Corn meets meets a Rango sort of vibe here with the comedy, where it's like when he strolls into town, you have like the kids are just kind of looking at him as the cameras goes up and just still staring at him, like that sort of visual comedy is just great.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a snowman being stabbed with multiple carrots before. That's like, oh my god, it's such an ingenious, morbid take on the snowman. That's awesome. Anyway, so let's see. So of course, I love the music choices of this. Honestly, the score overall is really good, but like the choice of music, I love How You Like Me Now as a song. I really do. So I love when we use it effectively, and this seems like Jasper at kind of the height of things. I like me now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of threw me out of it just a little bit, just because this is such an old school story.
It is, but it's kind of, I don't get a little zest here and there. Like, it just saying we're play a little fast and loose. Like, I don't know. Yeah, that also like the whole don't mess with the postman thing. Honestly, adds for like a big laugh.
I just, what this movie would have won a lot of points for me if they indeed did play the song "Please, Mr. Postman." I'm just saying.
Well, they had another Postman song. I mean, Also, the Invisible Song. Again, they kind of took a song that, I don't know, I feel in some other pieces could have been really, like, hokey. I don't know, the Invisible Song really worked for me, man. Those kinds of songs never work for me in these holiday movies.
Right.
I gotta tell you, it's like it feels like one of the
earnest, like, heart on its sleeve sort of song.
Yeah, it really worked. I mean, this is like sort of thing. It's like a mandated thing for an animated movie. Like we have to put in like the big soundtrack thing, where you get like a big name to sing the song. It's like no, in this case, it actually commented the piece. It felt genuine. I don't know.
I hear you.
Again, the postal genesis of Christmas and the world building of the myth overall, which I'll break down a little bit more later. It's the overall. I love that. I love the whole like the delivery routes of Christmas within the actual delivery service. It's kind of awesome.
Mm.
Great logic all through. Great logical all throughout the piece. That wins major points for me. We do stuff like that. Again, the whole co-Santa operation, that's also great. The costuming as well. Jesper in his postman get up, as well as Santa, and he starts off in the green outfit, which then leads to the red and white outfit, which is cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. I love the visual, how we hit our visual cues of this. We have some visual cues like the frowning drawing, which is really great. We're hitting all our visual marks that have like a great payoff. Like, we're punching in on these. We're visually telling our story very well. I love the realistic dwindling inventory. Like, as we say, okay, so Santa Claus has only so many toys before he has to make more. I love that. It's kind of like a logical story point of, okay, well, when he runs out, this whole system we have up and running right now, it's going to break down. That creates a problem that we need to address, which can lead to conflict. so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, just, in a blatant statement sort of sense of the word, it's just, the origin story stuff, it just all lines up so well, and it is pretty much like a Nolanized take on the Santa mythos, and everything really tracks in terms of, I could see that actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, the evolving method, I always thought of this when we do Spielberg movies. I love the evolving methodology. I love seeing, the whole, thing, how it evolves. We go from a wagon to a sleigh to ultimately reindeer, and very logically. And, we get elves. We see them building the toys. It's on the origin of the ho-ho-ho. It's all that. It's
the origin of the flying reindeer.
Yes, the flying reindeer. Oh, it's flying reindeer. Just and
they fly now.
Parts and other message of the movie, I think, is tremendous. It's seriously the theme, the message of the movie is just so uplifting and positive. And yes, all right.
Ooh, alrighty. So favorite scenes, Dragon. Who has the first one chronologically?
Oh God.
I believe it would be me.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, it has to be.
Okay, so I am going to go with just we're talking about kind of how naturalistic the evolution of everything is, and I love how the first letter isn't even a letter; it's a drawing. But within that drawing, Klaus is able to, directly interpret what the kid wants. And, he kind of just, he runs into Jesper for the first time. They're kind of interacting for real for the first time after having the kind of oh my God, scary man in the woods, I'm going to run away encounter. And so I really just love this moment where they're, where Jesper has to go into the house, deliver the toy, and, the kid finds the toy. And I love that Klaus makes Jesper watch the reaction. And that, to me, the reaction and how Klaus sees the reaction and Jesper seeing the reaction, that, to me, Dragon, that was the start of their bond right there, man. That was kind of the beginning of a beautiful friendship type moment. Just the whole, oh, man, look at the joy that we brought to one kid's face and, the light, we basically, lit up the kid's life. We could do this for other kids. We could make a thing out of this. It's by the way, Pink Pearl, see you later. See you later if you're not already on. Thanks for joining us. Awesome points you made tonight. Anyways, sorry, Dragon, I got a little sidetracked there, but I'm sorry. Get me back on point, Dragon.
All right, the point being, you love kind of the formation of Klaus and Jesper's friendship, and seeing basically essentially. Klaus's kind of lifelong dream kind of comes true in that moment there, where he could see a child's happiness because of something he made.
That's going to tie into one of your moments for sure. So yeah, man. And again, this film it does have a layer to it where before we know what Klaus's backstory is, we're still sort of touched by how he's reacting to everything and. Kind of the humanity that he's displaying. It's all really, really good stuff. Okay, so, oh my God, I love Margu writing the letter, Dragon. Oh God, this is just, I don't even know how to talk about Margu without just being like, she's so cute and adorable and it's hard.
Jesper!
Oh God. Okay, so first of all, I do love the comedic beat, right? Where he goes to the teacher and he's just like, I'm sorry, but do you know how to speak this? Pants down to Margu.
Yeah.
That's where that come from. So I don't know, and it kind of pays off the whole writing the name thing, It's not just writing the name. It's she's really teaching this child, full on communication. It's language barriers, and it's awesome. It leads to some really, really hard, very quick moment. It is kind of the most moment of my, my picks here. The rest are pretty.
Same moment again, jackass.
I love it. It's
got me. It's really
the resolution of the lie revealed. And so basically we see Klaus kind of like, he's still working away on the present for kind of.
So they separate after that point, and they were brought together.
The moment that I love is where he sits down and Klaus just kind of like, he hands him the thing and I'm sorry, the file thing for the wood, and they just start carving together, and they just give the one look. That's my moment, Dragon.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. It's just so beautiful. Just like he tries to apologize for what happened earlier. It's just like, nope. He just points down. It's just like,
just do it. Just work.
That really got me. It really
utter the words.
It was so beautiful. It's like, oh god, and him sleeping. Then he came in to start the process and woke him up. Okay, we got work. It's like that. We got work to do, buddy. Moment. Like, yes.
Totally. All right, Dragon, your moments. Hit me.
All right. Okay, so there were a lot of great montages in this. I kind of lumped in. Essentially, I kind of lumped two of them together here. Essentially, the Santa myth forming montage. My favorite conceit of the movie is at play during this, and this is essentially so Jesper has started delivering the toys, per the letters and everything. And basically, the idea is after it's been done a night or two at this point. Jesper is walking around. He hears the kids kind of marveling and basically speculating as to how it happens, as to what Santa does. And we get to see him you basically get to see probably a mixture of what he has been doing as well as what he's hearing them kind of mythologize. He's trying it out and it's kind of helping him along the way. So like we see Jesper getting inspiration of like going down the chimney.
Jesper!
The back door and everything was gone terribly for him before. He's hanging the stock, putting gifts in the stocking, so he doesn't have to find places throughout the house. We see a little bit of stealth. He's invisible, which of course still foreshadows the song a little bit later on too. Like the cookies and milk, and of course he discovers, oh man, I can leave coal for the kids. That
was one of my favorite moments.
And it was purely, I loved it. It wasn't like to teach the kids. It was purely out of spite for that one kid, which then turned into a deterrent for the kids, for the naughty and nice, which then led to this is why it's a mixture here, because I love the naughty and nice montage, where basically the kids, they become upstanding citizens and they help out. I thought that was so uplifting and so positive. Where we saw even the people carrying the dead bodies. It's like there's like a little traffic stop now. And it was so great. That's what I'm saying. I love. There's something so magical. You sit there. It's something so magical and awesome about that scene. It's just tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
All right, other ones. So this is a big one. Okay, Klaus telling Jesper about Lydia.
Oh my God.
So this
inside out tissues, Dragon. Inside out tissues.
So this complements the earlier scene. You were basically the lead up was your scene.
It's like the most Up scene I have ever seen in an animated movie outside of Up.
It is. Like, oh, Sergio, you genius, you. Sergio. Okay, no, seriously. This is a touching and tragic backstory for Klaus. The idea, he made it, as Pink said earlier. She basically said she loves the reason that Klaus makes the toys, and this thing. I thought it was so brilliant that Santa Claus makes toys because he was making toys for the children he never had, because he wanted to have kids, wanted to start a family with his wife. And again, I think the most beautiful symbol of the whole movie is the little mantelpiece thing that he constructed, a little wooden mantelpiece. And this is the thing earlier that really take them off of Jesper. Jesper's giving him the seasonal pitch, and he's covered this up because every time he looks at this thing, it brings him such pain for the life that he was denied. So he covered up with a sheet, and then he thought it was where he kept his tools and everything. So he'd bring no, and again, like the very non-vocal Klaus is like, wait, no, don't. And he gets really upset with him. He does it, and we see the origin of it here, where this little kind of carving, he would have made little wood carvings. There's one of him and his wife and with Lydia, and would have had all these other spaces for the 7 kids he was going to have. And it's so sad, seeing understand fully, it was what I thought it was.
So sad.
Those spots were going to for the family they never had. He was making toys for them, and that's why he had a huge abundance of. And the fact is, they tried and tried, nothing. That's why there's so many toys compiled at the start of the whole thing there. And it's basically this man who can create such childhood wonder. again, just being left with the symbols and the reminders of it. So it's brilliant. And again, this whole spirit of winter visual, this is kind of this winter spirit visual. The idea that in the earlier scenes, you saw like kind of this wind and the snow, like kind of this breeze and the snow going by. We have this device now. If you recall, Jesper, after the first night, after the first delivery of the frog, Jesper went to him because now he has like the whole idea for the big scheme of it all, and he pitches it to him. And initially, Klaus is very much like, "Go away, get out of here." Like, no, I just want to. But then Jesper is surrounded by the little wind effect swirling around him, and that changes Klaus's mind because that is the symbol of his wife, which is great. And also, we explain the birdhouses and everything. It's such a tender scene when J.K. Simmons is explaining this. He's telling such a riveting story that you're still moved by, and he's just driving the heart. He's driving the heart of the scene. But then he shifts from just this tenderness to such adamant joy of like, you see, and then you came along and you did all this.
Yeah.
And this is where you fall in love with J.K. Simmons if you haven't already. You just have this, yeah, let's do this Christmas thing. Yeah, he's so enthusiastic. And so I just look at the three layers of a great scene that we had. It was sort of like the tender, quiet scene of him just saying, my dear Lydia, she passed, and I lost her too. But then you came along. So then the comfort of like you came along, you brought joy to those children.
Roller coaster of emotions.
And then like, yeah, this Christmas thing, let's do it. We can expand the operation. It's just, yes, that's why J.K. Simmons is the man.
He's the going home.
Yes. Right. So then,
moment of triumph.
Anyway, so then we have the ending. If you thought it couldn't get any more beautiful than that.
Oh, goddamn.
All right. So basically, if you want to compare it to Up, again, the earlier scene was married life with the mantelpiece or like this little wood carving thing, which, by the way, was so beautiful too to see that filled with all the other, basically again, the pseudo family that he has then created with all the elves essentially, and then also you'll notice there's a little area for Jesper and Alba, which I thought was beautiful as well, like little carvings of them there as well. Point being, if you thought that was like that's your married life, then we have with the other runner for Up, the Ellie badge. Just kind of our Ellie badge moment here at the end. The Ellie badge gets me almost more in married life at this point. But then again, I've gotten so.
I'm just going to say, thanks for the adventure. Now go have.
That's what I'm saying. Those are three giant moments in that movie. Those three moments, like they'll break you. There is.
Pixar, but
That's what I'm saying. You're right. No one talks about the Ellie badge melted me. And my point being, okay, we're drifting off here. My point is, okay, great moments, and we capture some magic.
I'm actually having a conversation on Facebook.
Anyway, so the ending specifically, there's something just so classy and magical seeing the years go on. And as basically Jesper is telling us, like, and then the years went on. We have like this little mini montage going on. Klaus opening the door. He's a little older each visit, and then like Jesper has a mustache for. He's trying to help the mustache look. And like that communicates to me. Oh, he might be
critical about the mustache.
What?
No. What are you doing? I am the one who's doing the facial hair.
Great. That's like, so we see Klaus age, and then we have this like a beautiful death. I mean, famously, the Batman has kind of said, this would be a good death. This actually is a good death. Rarely do you ever see a good death, and this is one of them. It's like, oh god, this is a beautiful passing of the Klaus. 12 years into the actual formulated Christmas. Which, by the way, I wanted to also give that some praise to. I love the fact that the evolution of Christmas being it was like basically a male thing. Then it ended up, okay, this is gonna be too much for like doing it every day. We're just gonna do it one day. That'll be the point is, 12 years into he's chopping wood, and I love that we don't see him we don't do I would have been crying at it anyway. But it's just the fact if he fell into the snow, it would have been heartbreakingly tragic. We made it beautiful, as my friends said during the thing. Oh god, it's like a new way death from Kung Fu Panda, which is also beautiful. But that's here is even more beautiful, knowing what the symbol of his wife was. Seeing Lydia basically be kind of that Christmas spirit, be that kind of that breeze in the winter. And he says, I'm coming, my love. And he walks and disappears. He walks past the tree, and the axe falls. The axe being the thing that basically the first thing that Jesper saw was a man was a woodsman with an axe. name it a symbol of Klaus, and the fact that Klaus is rewarded by meeting his wife, and the fact that he can still bring Christmas. He's a little spirit of Christmas.
Oh my God, and I still get to see my friend every year.
But here's the thing that gets me on the rewatch: it's the milk and it's the 2 glasses of milk.
Oh God!
It's the fact that we see Jesper as a family, as his own Mrs. Claus and everything. He's just, he puts out the little tray of cookies and the 2 glasses of milk, as in when he shows up, as he invariably will, they're going to share some cookies and milk as they did in the old days. And then the fact that basically Santa Claus has become a little bigger than God thing, and that he's a spirit now. He's going to be able to. He probably gets brought back on an annual basis to deliver the toys and everything. I assume Jesper and then the elves probably work on the thing or something. They probably get everything prepared for him. He makes the round. I don't know. Regardless, it's a little ambiguous.
The very end is where we get ambiguous, where we get natural.
It's like we don't see.
That is like the biggest we don't care in the history of we don't cares.
It's like we don't see Boo at the end of Monsters Inc. We don't need to see her. It's like it's the thing. We don't need to see him because whatever you're thinking is better than what it could have ever been. In a sense, it's like it's going to be him or it's going to be a ghost. It's like it doesn't matter. You know the sentiments there. He's going to see. I get to see my friend again. That's all you need. It's beautiful. It's art, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Oh boy, seriously.
All right. I'm sorry. Is that your last moment?
No, it is. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. Duh. I don't know why I asked that. I'm stupid. When I went to go grab a drink, it was a Red Bull, and conveniently we didn't have any Red Bull, so I'm lagging a little. But anyways, how's it hold up, Dragon? How's it hold up? How's it hold up from November 2019 to December 2019?
Well, honestly, it really holds up. If you really want to look at it in terms of how's it hold up.
Let's reformat the question. I think the question should be, will it hold up?
You're right, but however, in regards to the original formation, I would say it holds up, especially on the rewatch. But yes, looking into the how will it hold up? I think I can easily say, at least bear in mind, seeing it like 3.5 times at this point. It feels like a holiday classic for sure. I'm sure this is going to be
a holiday classic. It really does.
Like this film just captures the spirit of Christmas in a fresh and exciting way. It exceeded my expectations. Like more than I ever could have imagined. I couldn't be more pleased with it. I really couldn't. I think it's a perfect movie to get you into the holiday spirit, and the literal version of it, given how we show kind of the spirit of a holiday in this movie, but also in so many senses of the word. It's just so perfect, So it's perfect for a holiday movie. I think Netflix hit out of the park like another Christmas classic. Like, oh man, so this is one you want to come back to next year in a big way. It's true. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, this thing is just like it's one of my favorite Santas in all of animation, and it's definitely my favorite Santa origin story that's ever been put to film. And so in that regard, I mean, I just think there's so much ingenuity just leaping off of the screen. I mean, I'm sorry, I know I've used this comparison before, Dragon, but I think it resonates with me that they really did do a Nolanized approach to Santa, and it works so well. The fact that every little thing about the Santa mythos is explained in practical terms, and it all lines up and makes sense. It's a feat of writing brilliance, Dragon. And beyond that, it's just it's very emotional. I feel like the tone is weirdly, it's got a very unique tone that's unlike anything we've really ever seen in terms of just like how it's kind of like a little bit nihilistic at times, but very, very joyful in other times. It kind of runs the gamut of emotions there. And yeah, man, I'll say one thing, Dragon. I don't think it's likely that it's going to get nominated for Best Animated Feature. I hope it does. And I'm just going to put this out into the universe, Dragon. I'm sorry, I know we have fans of Frozen 2 here. This is such a better movie than Frozen 2, and Frozen 2 is almost inevitably going to be nominated for Best Animated Feature.
That's true, it's going to be nominated, yeah.
So, come on, Academy, come on. If Frozen 2 is like an inevitable nomination, make this a surprise nomination. I'm really, man, I mean, I know it's not likely, Trick, but I really, really hope it gets in there.
Yeah, but so I just want to drive it home once more here, because again, that's seriously the sentiment of the movie. The whole a true act of goodwill will spark another. That really is the cornerstone of what I define as Christmas. It's about it's an act of kindness around the holidays. That's what Christmas really. That's the meaning of Christmas for me. That's what this movie really it did so well in a story that was just well communicated, well conveyed. It was had all this great stuff going for it with your characterization of Santa Claus, with kind of the humor, with the animation style, with the sheer heart of it all. It's something beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, Dragon. Deep beneath the wrapping paper, my friend.
Yeah, let's pick the wrapping paper. Yeah, the last time.
All right, so this is one that I have been championing for a while. I've really wanted to do it for a couple of years now, and we're finally getting to do it. It is the iconic, the classic Bing Crosby White Christmas. Oh yeah, lots of good stuff here. I would say outside, Dragon, you made this point, but I would say outside of It's a Wonderful Life, it might be the defining classic Christmas movie. I mean, it really is. There's just something so wholesome about it. So very excited to get into that. And I guess without further ado, Dragon, take us out.
Well, folks, it's time to dash away all, but as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time
with even more seasonal shenanigans.
La 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 la.
All right, folks, there we go. I hope that went well. Big thanks to Pink Pearl Apple again for joining us in the comments for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the morning when I upload White Christmas. Have a good night, everyone. Jeff!